Chair recognizes Ms. Reinstein for her opening statement. Thank you so much, and you have 5 minutes with no lights.
Thank you, Chairman Tonko, Ranking Member Shimkus, members of the committee, for giving me the honor and the opportunity to testify in support of H.R. 1603, the Alan Reinstein Ban Asbestos Now Act, RBAN. My written testimony has been submitted for the record. I'm neither a lobbyist or an attorney. I am a mesothelioma widow and the co-founder of the Asbestos Disease Awareness Organization, ADAO, an independent nonprofit dedicated to preventing exposure to asbestos to eliminate deadly diseases that it causes. For the 5th time, I'm testifying on behalf of ADAO, but also your constituents who suffer from or have been silenced by asbestos-caused diseases. Today's ban asbestos legislation hearing is a landmark step forward for public health. And I'm honored to have H.R. 1603 named after my husband, but it's really for the hundreds of thousands of Allens who've paid a price for this man-made disaster with their lives. My daughter, Emily, is sitting to my left. She was just 10 when her father, Alan, was diagnosed with mesothelioma. He opted for a radical procedure to remove a rib, resect his left lung, strip off his pericardium, and surgically replace his diaphragm in hopes for more time with us. He fought a hard 3-year battle, and like we know, mesothelioma patients rarely win. He died 3 years later with Emily and myself by his side. This picture on the table represents my husband and the hundreds of thousands of Americans who die painful, premature, and preventable deaths. Emily and I are not alone. Each day, more than 100 Americans die from mesothelioma, lung, ovarian, laryngeal cancers, asbestosis, and other pleural diseases. Yet, imports continue. Alarmingly, my new research, which you will all have on the back table, has revealed that since the EPA tried to ban asbestos and it was overturned in 1991, 1 million Americans have died from these preventable diseases. This snapshot is only a small piece of time because you can imagine over the past 100 years how many Americans have died from these preventable diseases. Think for just one moment, not about our family, about the millions of families that have loved and lost loved ones due to this chemical, while our government has done nothing. 30 years after EPA tried to ban asbestos, the facts remain irrefutable. All forms of asbestos, including chrysotile, are a known human carcinogen. There is no safe or controlled use of asbestos. Knowing the unreasonable risk, we have allowed over 300,000 metric tons to be imported and used in the past 28 years. Now, companies recognizing the risks decades ago have actually transitioned to safer and economical substitutes. However, the chlor-alkali industry has refused. Today, Olin Corporation, Occidental Chemical Corporation, Axial Westlake Corporation are still importing, using, and lobbying for an exemption. To be clear, they use chrysotile asbestos diaphragms to produce chlorine and caustic soda, but there are 3 methods. This is just one. Our research reveals only 1% of their chlorine production is for drinking water. The rest is for industrial chlorine uses. Last year, this industry imported 750 metric tons of raw asbestos from Russia and Brazil, 750 metric tons. Now, there are numerous asbestos exposure pathways from mining, transporting between port to plants, within the plants, and disposal. That is a massive amount of opportunities. It is beyond a glove box. EPA risk evaluations are excluding the asbestos that we find, the legacy in our homes, schools, and workplaces. And let me tell you, an impurity 1% by weight is not protective. If you have a 100-pound bag of play sand, could you really have a pound of asbestos and have it be legal? As a widow, I say no. They're also excluding various cancers, which you've heard the committee describe: ovarian, laryngeal, asbestosis, other diseases. During the past decade, since I've been coming to Washington, actually it's 15 years, asbestos has been the poster child for meaningful TSCA reform. And I agree with Ranking Member Shimkus. I hate asbestos. And the EPA has failed to do their job. We can't wait and hope that the EPA will narrow risk evaluation will lead to a ban while the agency is failing. And Congress must expeditiously move this bill forward. And I look forward to answering your questions, and thank you for your leadership.